The quantum breach. The Sentinel's routine Admiral Kextar stretched his 6 limbs as he settled into the command throne of the hegemony battlecruiser Eternal Dominion. The massive vessel was part of the 3rd Sentinel fleet, patrolling the outer, rim territories of the galactic hegemony. For 3 centuries, these patrols had been nothing more than ceremonial displays of power. No species dared challenge the hegemony's authority, and most avoided these sectors entirely. The bridge hummed with quiet efficiency. 24 vessels formed the patrol formation, each one a testament to the hegemony's technological supremacy. Their quantum phase armor could withstand the fury of dying stars, while their graviton cannons could tear planets apart. Yet today felt different somehow, though Kextar couldn't place why. "Admiral," called Navigation Officer Thelix from her station, her crystalline voice cutting through the ambient noise. "We're detecting an anomalous signature in Sector 77 Alpha. It appears to be a vessel, but the readings are unusual." Kexatar's compound eyes focused on the tactical display. A single contact appeared on the holographic projection, but the data surrounding it made no sense. The vessel was enormous, nearly 8 kilometers in length, yet it moved with impossible grace through space. More disturbing were the energy, readings that seemed to fluctuate in patterns that defied known physics. "Classification?" Kextar demanded, his voice carrying the authority of 3 decades commanding hegemony fleets. "Unknown, sir. The computer cannot match the design to any species in our database. The energy signature is completely foreign." Thelix's tentacles writhed with uncertainty, a clear sign of her confusion, the impossible discovery. As the Sentinel fleet approached the mysterious vessel, more details became visible on the main screen. The ship was unlike anything in hegemony records. Where hegemony vessels followed the traditional organic curves that had dominated galactic shipbuilding for millennia, this craft featured harsh angular lines and geometric patterns. Its hull appeared to be constructed from some kind of adaptive material that seemed to shift and shimmer like liquid metal frozen in time. "Sensor analysis complete, Admiral," reported Science Officer Velthar, his forearms manipulating multiple control interfaces simultaneously. "The vessel appears to be of human origin." The bridge fell into stunned silence. Every crew member turned to stare at Velthar in disbelief. Humans were barely a footnote in hegemony records, classified as a primitive species that had only recently achieved basic interstellar travel. Their largest vessels were crude affairs, barely 300 meters long and powered by simple fusion reactors. "That's impossible," Kextar said slowly. "Humans lack the technology to build anything approaching this scale. Their entire civilization couldn't construct a vessel of this magnitude." Velthar checked his readings again, his expression growing more perplexed. "Sir, I've run the analysis 7 times. The electromagnetic resonance patterns, the quantum field fluctuations, even the geometric design philosophy all match human technological fingerprints. But this ship displays capabilities that shouldn't exist." Kextar called up the official hegemony database on humanity. The file was disappointingly brief. Humans had achieved faster-than-light travel only 60 years ago using primitive jump drives. Their expansion into space was slow and cautious, limited to a handful of systems near their homeworld. The hegemony had made formal contact 40 years ago and classified them as a developing species with negligible strategic value. "This information must be severely outdated," Kextar muttered. "But how could an entire species advance so rapidly without our intelligence networks detecting it?" Before anyone could respond, the human vessel began to move. Despite its colossal size, it accelerated smoothly toward the Sentinel fleet, its engines producing a brilliant blue-white emission that Kextar had never encountered before. The ship moved with a fluid grace that seemed to mock the laws of physics. "First contact protocol. Open a communication channel," Kextar ordered. Standard first contact protocols. The communications array activated, sending out the traditional hegemony identification sequence in 17 different languages. For several minutes there was no response. Then, suddenly, the communications board erupted with activity as an incoming transmission pierced through their quantum-encrypted channels with disturbing ease. "Hegemony Fleet, this is Captain Elena Vasquez of the Earth Confederation vessel Quantum Dawn. You are broadcasting identification requests in neutral space. By what authority do you make such demands? Kextar was stunned. Not only was the human speaking perfect galactic standard, but her tone was confident and slightly challenging. This was completely contrary to how humans were supposed to behave when confronted by hegemony forces. Previous encounters had always resulted in immediate submission and fearful compliance. This is Admiral Kextar of the Hegemony 3rd Sentinel Fleet. You are traveling through a sector under hegemony protection. All vessels must submit to inspection and provide detailed manifests of their cargo and intentions. There was a brief pause before Captain Vasquez responded. Admiral, I'm afraid you're operating under outdated information. This system is designated as free navigation space under the Galactic Accords of 2387. We are conducting peaceful exploration under established interstellar law. Kextar's confusion deepened. Humans weren't supposed to possess detailed knowledge of galactic law, much less quote specific treaty provisions with such precision. More disturbing was the casual way Captain Vasquez had dismissed his authority. Captain Vasquez, according to our records, human vessels lack the capability for deep space exploration at this level. How did your species construct a ship of this size and technological sophistication? Admiral, Captain Vasquez replied, and Kextar could detect what sounded like amusement in her voice. Your records appear to be significantly out of date. Perhaps we should arrange a formal meeting to address these misconceptions. The energy test Kextar decided to test the situation's reality. No human vessel, regardless of size, could pose a genuine threat to a hegemony fleet. Captain Vasquez, I'm ordering my inspection teams to board your vessel for standard compliance verification. I'm afraid I cannot allow that, Admiral. The Quantum Dawn is a sovereign Earth Confederation vessel, and we do not recognize hegemony jurisdiction in neutral space. Captain, you don't seem to understand the situation. The hegemony Navy has the authority to inspect any vessel in this sector. If you refuse, we will consider your ship hostile and respond with appropriate force. Admiral, Captain Vasquez's voice became more serious. I strongly advise against any aggressive action. The Quantum Dawn is equipped with advanced defensive capabilities. Kextar almost laughed. One human ship, even an unusually large one, against 24 hegemony warships? Captain, you have one ship. I have 24. Stand down immediately and prepare to be boarded. Admiral, you're correct about the numbers, but you're making dangerous assumptions about what this one ship can accomplish. Reality-shattered Kextar signaled his tactical officer. All ships target the human vessel's propulsion systems. Disable only, do not destroy. I want that ship intact for study. The Sentinel fleet opened fire with precision graviton beams designed to disable rather than destroy. The energy weapon struck the Quantum Dawn across multiple points on its hull, delivering enough force to cripple any known vessel. But instead of the expected damage, something impossible happened. The beams seemed to be absorbed directly into the ship's hull, which began to glow with a soft, pulsing radiance. The human vessel showed no signs of damage, stress, or even minor system disruption. If anything, it seemed to be growing brighter. Sir, Thelix called out in panic. Our weapons fire is being completely absorbed. No damage detected on the target vessel. Their hull integrity remains at 100%. Kextar stared in growing horror as the Quantum Dawn continued to absorb the combined firepower of 24 hegemony warships without showing any signs of distress. All ships, cease fire immediately. Captain Vasquez's voice returned over the communication channel. Admiral, that wasn't shielding technology. Our hull is constructed from quantum-responsive metamaterial that converts incoming energy directly into usable power. Thank you for the recharge. Before Kextar could formulate a response, the Quantum Dawn demonstrated its own capabilities. The ship fired a single, precisely modulated beam of energy that passed harmlessly between the hegemony vessels. Yet somehow, every ship's defensive shields simply vanished, as if they had never existed. How? Kextar whispered, his voice barely audible. Your shield generators operate on quantum field resonance, Captain Vasquez explained matter-of-factly. We've temporarily shifted their harmonic frequency. They're not damaged, just unable to maintain field coherence. Full functionality will return in approximately 8 minutes. power demonstration, the impossible reality crashed down on Kextar, like a collapsing star. Everything the hegemony believed about humanity was completely wrong. This single human ship possessed technology that surpassed hegemony capabilities in ways that seemed to violate fundamental laws of physics. "Captain Vasquez," he said carefully, "I believe we need to have that formal meeting you mentioned." "I agree, Admiral. But first I should probably mention that the Quantum Dawn isn't operating alone out here. We have 23 other vessels of similar capability conducting exploration missions throughout this sector. The blood drained from Kextar's circulatory system." 23 others? Yes, and Admiral, there are over 400 ships in Earth's deep space exploration fleet. We've been conducting peaceful missions throughout the galaxy for the past 15 years. We're genuinely surprised the hegemony hasn't noticed our presence. Kextar slumped back in his command throne. 400 ships with technology that made hegemony vessels appear primitive by comparison. How had the hegemony's vast intelligence network completely missed this development? "Captain, I need to contact my superiors immediately. This changes everything." "Of course, Admiral. In the meantime, would you and your senior officers like to come aboard the Quantum Dawn for a diplomatic discussion? I believe there are quite a few misconceptions that need to be addressed on both sides." As Kextar prepared to make the most significant report in hegemony history, he realized that the balance of power in the galaxy had shifted dramatically, and his civilization had been completely unaware it was happening. The age of unquestioned hegemony dominance was ending, and humanity had just announced their arrival on the galactic stage. The revelation Dr. Marcus Reed stood in the Quantum Dawn's main laboratory, reviewing the quantum field equations that had made their revolutionary technology possible. The breakthrough had come 12 years ago when Earth scientists discovered how to manipulate the fundamental quantum foam that underlied all reality. By learning to phase matter in and out of quantum states, humanity had solved problems that had puzzled galactic civilization for millennia. "Captain," he reported to Vasquez through the intercom, "the hegemony vessel's shield systems are based on fascinating but limited principles. They're generating static barriers instead of dynamic quantum fields. No wonder they couldn't adapt to our frequency modulation." Captain Vasquez smiled as she watched the hegemony admiral's shuttle approach their docking bay. "Marcus, I think we're about to have some very interesting conversations about physics." The truth was that humanity had been preparing for this moment for over a decade. They had known that eventually their expansion would bring them into contact with the galactic powers. But rather than approach as supplicants, they had chosen to develop the technology necessary to meet those powers as equals. Lieutenant Zara Kim monitored the approaching hegemony delegation from the tactical station. "Captain, their admiral seems genuinely shaken. I don't think they were prepared for this level of technological disparity." "No," Vasquez agreed, "they weren't. But that's about to change everything." The Paradigm Shift Emergency Assembly, the Grand Assembly Chamber on Hegemony Prime had never seen such chaos. Supreme Chancellor Vothek stood at the center of the circular amphitheater, his towering form casting long shadows across the gathered representatives of 300 species. The holographic projection hovering above the chamber floor showed the impossible footage from Admiral Kextar's encounter with the human vessel. "Play the sequence again," Vothek commanded, his voice echoing through the vast chamber. For the 7th time, the assembled leadership of the galactic hegemony watched as their most advanced warships fired uselessly at a single human vessel, only to have their own defenses disabled by technology that seemed to operate beyond known physical laws. Gasps and exclamations of disbelief rippled through the assembly in dozens of different languages. "This is impossible," declared Science Coordinator Zeftal, her serpentine form coiling with agitation. "Humans are classified as a Level 2 civilization. They barely achieved interstellar travel within living memory. Their technology is centuries behind even our most basic systems." Intelligence Director Mordak stepped forward, his insectoid features grim with the weight of catastrophic failure. "Supreme Chancellor, I've conducted an emergency review of all intelligence reports concerning human activities over the past 20 years. What we've discovered represents the most significant intelligence failure in hegemony history." The chamber fell silent as Mordak activated his holographic display. Star systems throughout the galaxy lit up with indicators showing reported encounters with human vessels. Over the past 2 decades, there have been 247 reports of encounters with human ships displaying unusual capabilities. Our analysts dismiss these reports as sensor malfunctions, exaggerated accounts from nervous patrol crews, or encounters with vessels from other species misidentified as human. Chancellor Vothak's 4 eyes narrowed as he studied the display. The reports formed a pattern of systematic exploration that covered nearly a quarter of the galaxy. Show me the progression. The hologram shifted to display a time-lapse sequence showing human exploration expanding outward from their home system in carefully planned waves. What had appeared to be random encounters were actually part of a massive, coordinated survey, mission spanning 15 years. They've been mapping our territory, Vothak said slowly. They know our patrol routes, our defensive positions, our resource systems. They've been studying us. Intelligence Failure Trade Commissioner Yeltar rose from her seat, her crystalline form refracting the chamber's light into rainbow patterns. Supreme Chancellor, we need to examine why our intelligence networks failed so completely. How does an entire species advance from primitive spaceflight to surpassing our technology without our knowledge? Mordak manipulated his display to show a series of intercepted communications. The answer is both simple and disturbing. Humans have been deliberately concealing their advancement. Every time one of their advanced vessels encountered our patrols, they withdrew before detailed scans could be completed. The few times our forces attempted to investigate more closely, the human ships demonstrated just enough capability to escape, while appearing to be lucky rather than technologically superior. A recording played showing a human vessel, apparently, struggling to escape from a hegemony patrol, its engines fluctuating and its course erratic. But when analyzed with the knowledge of human capabilities, it became clear that the entire encounter was carefully choreographed to appear accidental. They've been testing us, Chancellor Vothak realized. Every encounter was designed to gather intelligence on our capabilities while concealing their own. Exactly, Mordak confirmed. We now believe that humanity has been preparing for formal contact with galactic civilization for over a decade. They've been studying our technology, our tactics, our political structures, and our psychology. When Admiral Kextar encountered the Quantum Dawn, it wasn't a chance meeting. It was humanity's chosen moment to reveal themselves. Defense Minister Kolvex, a massive warrior from the hegemony's military caste, stood slowly. If humans possess the technology demonstrated in these recordings, how many ships could they field? What is the size of their actual fleet? The question hung in the air like a poisonous cloud. Everyone in the chamber understood the implications. If humanity had been concealing their true capabilities for 20 years, there was no way to know the extent of their actual power. The human fleet, as if summoned by their fears, Admiral Kextar's urgent transmission appeared on the chamber's main display. The veteran commander looked haggard, his usual composure shattered by recent revelations. Supreme Chancellor, I'm transmitting from the human vessel Quantum Dawn. I need to report that. Our situation is far more serious than initially believed. Behind Kextar, the gleaming interior of the human ship was visible. The technology on display was elegant and advanced beyond anything in hegemony archives. Human crew members moved with quiet efficiency, their confidence evident even through the transmission. The human captain has provided me with information about their true fleet strength. Supreme Chancellor, they currently operate over 400 deep space vessels, each comparable to the Quantum Dawn. Their exploration fleet alone outguns our entire Third Sector Defense Force. Gasps echoed through the assembly chamber. The Third Sector Defense Force consisted of over 3,000 vessels and was considered one of the hegemony's most powerful military formations. Furthermore, Kextar continued, Captain Vasquez has informed me that this exploration fleet represents only a portion of humanity's space-based assets. They have additional fleets responsible for defense, colonization, and what they term special operations. Chancellor Vothak felt the weight of 3 centuries of hegemony dominance crumbling around him. Admiral, what are human intentions? Are they preparing for war? That's the most surprising aspect of this situation, Supreme Chancellor. They appeared genuinely interested in peaceful contact and cooperation. Captain Vasquez has extended an invitation for formal diplomatic relations between humanity and the hegemony. They've also offered to share certain technologies that could benefit all galactic civilizations. Diplomatic Revolution, Captain Elena. Vasquez stepped into view of the transmission, her presence commanding immediate attention. She appeared young by human standards, but her eyes held the confidence of someone accustomed to wielding significant power. Supreme Chancellor Vothak, I'm honored to address the Grand Assembly. I want to assure you that humanity seeks peaceful relations with all galactic civilizations. We've spent the past 20 years preparing for this moment, not to conquer or dominate, but to ensure we could meet you as equals. Vothak found his voice. Captain Vasquez, your species has concealed its advancement while conducting surveillance of our territory. How can we trust your stated peaceful intentions? Chancellor, we concealed our capabilities because history has shown that civilizations often respond poorly when they encounter unexpectedly advanced neighbors. We wanted to understand galactic politics and power structures before revealing ourselves. Our goal was to avoid the conflicts that have plagued first contact scenarios throughout history. Dr. Marcus Reed joined Captain Vasquez in the transmission. Supreme Chancellor, we'd like to demonstrate our commitment to peaceful cooperation by sharing the theoretical foundations of our quantum manipulation technology. This knowledge could revolutionize energy production, space travel, and manufacturing for all galactic civilizations. The offer sent shockwaves through the assembly. Technology sharing of that magnitude was unprecedented in galactic history. Advanced civilizations jealously guarded their scientific advantages, using technological superiority to maintain political dominance. Technology Exchange Science Coordinator Zeftal slithered forward, her excitement overcoming diplomatic protocol. Dr. Reed, are you seriously proposing to share quantum manipulation technology with the entire galactic community? Not only proposing it, but offering to establish joint research facilities where scientists from all civilizations can work together to develop applications. Humanity believes that scientific advancement benefits everyone when knowledge is shared freely. The concept was so foreign to galactic thinking that many assembly members struggled to comprehend it. The hegemony's power had always been based on technological superiority. The idea of voluntarily sharing advanced knowledge challenged fundamental assumptions about interstellar relations. There must be conditions, insisted Trade Commissioner Yeltar. What does humanity want in return? Captain Vasquez smiled. We want partners, not subjects. We want to participate in galactic civilization as contributors rather than conquerors. We want to help solve problems that affect all of us, like resource depletion, environmental degradation, and interspecies conflict. Dr. Reed activated a holographic display showing quantum field equations that made several assembly members gasp in recognition. The technology that powers our ships can also be used to restore damaged ecosystems, provide unlimited clean energy, and enable faster-than-light communication across galactic distances. These applications could improve life for trillions of beings. Galactic Restructure Chancellor Vothak realized that the galaxy's power structure was about to undergo its most dramatic transformation in millennia. The hegemony's authority had been based on the assumption that they possessed the most advanced technology and the most powerful military. Humanity's emergence shattered those assumptions completely. Captain Vasquez, if we accept your proposal for cooperation, what changes would you expect in current galactic governance? Chancellor, we're not interested in replacing the hegemony's authority. We propose expanding it. Instead of a single dominant civilization, we envision a true galactic confederation where major decisions are made collectively by representatives of all advanced civilizations. The proposal was revolutionary. For 3 centuries, the hegemony had made unilateral decisions affecting the entire galaxy. The concept of shared governance challenged the fundamental structure of galactic civilization. Defense Minister Kolvex stepped forward, his warrior instincts warring with pragmatic recognition of humanity's demonstrated capabilities. And if we refuse your proposal? Captain Vasquez's expression remained diplomatic, but her voice carried unmistakable steel. Minister, we hope that won't be necessary, but humanity is committed to participating in galactic civilization, with or without formal cooperation from existing powers. We believe cooperation benefits everyone, but we're prepared to proceed independently if required. The implicit threat was clear. Humanity possessed the technology and fleet strength to establish their own sphere of influence, regardless of hegemony, approval. The choice was between cooperation and potentially devastating competition. New era. Begins Lieutenant Zara Kim monitored the transmission from the Quantum Dawn's tactical station, watching as hegemony leadership grappled with their new reality. Captain, their power structure is built entirely around technological dominance. Sharing our advances will fundamentally alter galactic civilization. That's the point, Zara, Vasquez replied. Civilizations grow stronger through cooperation, not competition. The hegemony has maintained order, but they've also stifled innovation and cooperation between species. We can do better. Dr. Reed was already working on the technical aspects of the proposed cooperation. Captain, I've prepared preliminary data packages on quantum field manipulation, metamaterial construction, and energy conversion systems. If the hegemony agrees to the partnership, we can begin technology transfer immediately. Back in the Grand Assembly Chamber, Chancellor Vothak found himself facing the most significant decision in hegemony history. He could attempt to maintain the old order through conflict with humanity, but their demonstrated technological superiority made that path potentially catastrophic. Or he could embrace change and help build a new form of galactic civilization based on cooperation rather than dominance. Captain Vasquez, he said finally, the hegemony accepts your proposal for cooperation. We'll begin discussions immediately on establishing the new Confederation structure you've described. The chamber erupted in excited conversation as representatives from hundreds of species realized they were witnessing the dawn of a new galactic age. For the first time in centuries, smaller civilizations would have a voice in galactic governance. Advanced technology would be shared for the benefit of all, rather than hoarded by the powerful. Admiral Kextar stepped forward on the transmission. Supreme Chancellor, Captain Vasquez has also informed me that humanity's exploration fleets have discovered 17 previously unknown habitable worlds in the outer sectors. They're proposing to make this information available to species seeking new colonies. The generosity was staggering. Habitable worlds were the most precious resource in the galaxy, and humanity was offering to share their discoveries freely. Captain, Vasquez smiled as she watched the hegemony leadership process the implications of their offer. Chancellor, we believe the galaxy is big enough for all of us to prosper, but that requires us to work together rather than against each other. Dr. Reed added, the quantum breakthrough that enabled our advancement was built on knowledge gathered by dozens of previous civilizations. We're simply returning the favor by sharing what we've learned. As the transmission ended and preparations began for the most significant diplomatic conference in galactic history, one truth was clear to everyone present. The age of single civilization dominance was ending, and the era of cooperative galactic civilization was beginning. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy through force, but had fundamentally changed it through the radical concept of voluntary cooperation and shared advancement. The Empire had indeed trembled, not from fear of conquest, but from the revolutionary idea that strength came through unity rather than domination. And at the center of this transformation was humanity's simple but powerful belief that the galaxy would be better if everyone worked together toward common goals. The quantum breach had opened more than just new technologies. It had opened the door to a new kind of galactic civilization, one where progress benefited everyone and power was shared rather than hoarded. The impossible had become inevitable, and the galaxy would never be the same.